The night sky of planet Vereen shimmered like liquid glass. Thousands of stars floated above the city towers, but Lyra could not see any of them. She was blind, born without sight, yet cursed to live on a world built from light. Every morning she walked alone through the glowing halls of the Alien Academy. The walls pulsed with colors that changed with mood, laughter, and rank. For everyone else, the colors were life. For Lyra, they were nothing but silence. She counted her steps. 1, 2, 3, until her hand found the cold railing of the stairs. Behind her, whispers followed like shadows. She's back again. Why does a blind girl even come to school? Maybe she wants to feel sorry for herself. And then came the push. It happened almost every day. A group of alien students, tall, blue-skinned, with shining eyes, laughed as they shoved her down the glowing stairs. She didn't scream. She never did. She just hit the cold floor, gathered her scattered books, and stood again. The bullies found joy in her silence. "Still no tears?" one sneered. Lyra only turned her face upward. Though she couldn't see, she could feel warmth from the light panels above. Her voice was calm. "You can break my bones, but not my heart." The bullies froze for a second, then laughed harder. "What heart? You're just a blind mistake." She walked away quietly, pretending not to hear. Inside, her chest burned. Not with anger, but loneliness. She had no friends, no family nearby, only the voice of her mother echoing in her memory. "Even if you can't see the stars, Lyra, one day someone will see you." That someone appeared the next morning. A human boy stepped through the academy gates, something rare on Vereen. His name was Eli Carter, 16 Earth years old, with brown eyes full of curiosity. The alien stared at him like he didn't belong. He didn't care. He carried his backpack, looked around, and smiled like everything was an adventure. When Eli saw Lyra in the hallway, he noticed how everyone moved away from her, like she was invisible. His smile faded. He had seen that same cruelty back on Earth. Later that day, during break, Eli climbed the stairs and saw Lyra again, standing at the top, carefully touching the wall, trying to find her path. Behind her, the same group of bullies whispered and grinned. Before Eli could react, one of them pushed her. Lyra gasped as her foot slipped. She fell forward, but before she hit the floor, a hand caught her wrist. Eli's hand. "Got you," he said softly. His voice was steady, warm, and human. For a second, time froze. Lyra felt something she hadn't felt in years. Safety. Eli helped her stand. "Are you okay?" She hesitated. "Why did you catch me?" He frowned. "Because I could." The bullies approached, smirking. "Stay out of this, human. She's nothing." Eli turned to them, his jaw tight. "Say that again, or what?" Eli didn't move. He didn't fight. He just looked at them with quiet anger, the kind that burns deeper than any weapon. The bullies stepped back, confused by his calmness. When they finally walked away, Eli turned to Lyra. "You shouldn't let them treat you like that." She smiled weakly. "I'm used to it." "Well," he said, "I'm not." That day, rumors spread fast. The human boy defended the blind girl. Some laughed. Some were shocked. Lyra didn't know what to think. After class, she sat under the giant glass dome that covered the academy's sky garden. The stars above looked like diamonds, though she couldn't see them. She felt the warmth of one nearby light panel and said softly, "Mother, maybe he's the one you talked about." Eli found her there. "Hey," he said, sitting beside her. "You like coming here too?" "I can't see it," she whispered. "But I can feel the light. It hums like a song." Eli looked up at the stars. "You know, back on Earth we say stars are stories, each one telling something about us. What do they say about me?" He smiled gently. "They say you're still shining, even when you can't see yourself." Lyra turned her head, her blind eyes glowing faintly for a moment. Eli noticed but said nothing. Then far above them a strange flicker crossed the dome, like the stars were moving. Lyra felt it before Eli saw it. Her head tilted up. "Did you see that?" Eli frowned. "Yeah." That wasn't normal. Her voice trembled. "I can feel something coming." Eli looked at her, unsure how she could know. The hum of the light panels grew louder, like a heartbeat. He didn't understand, but one thing he knew for sure. This girl wasn't just blind. Something deeper was hidden behind those glowing eyes. As the wind whispered through the dome, Lyra said softly, almost to herself. The stars are talking again, and Eli, watching her in the pale glow of the alien night, realized something powerful. This was only the beginning. The next morning, the alien academy buzzed with whispers. The human fought for the blind girl. They say he challenged the bullies. No one ever does that. Lyra could hear the murmurs even though she didn't look up. She sat quietly on a bench, her fingers tracing the patterns on her study pad. Her mind replayed the moment Eli caught her, his hand, his voice, his courage. No one had ever said enough for her before. Eli arrived late to class, his uniform slightly wrinkled and his shoes covered in dust. He didn't seem to care. He walked past the staring alien straight to the seat beside Lyra. "Morning," he said, smiling. She tilted her head toward his voice. "You shouldn't sit with me. They'll make fun of you too," he shrugged. "Let them try." The alien instructor entered and silence fell. As lessons began, Lyra listened carefully. Eli tried to follow, but alien science wasn't easy for a human. Still, he didn't give up. He kept scribbling notes, asking questions, learning fast. When class ended, 3 bullies blocked their path. The leader, Kor, smirked. "You think you're some kind of hero human?" Eli didn't answer. Kor shoved him lightly. "She's worthless. Why waste time on trash?" Eli's hand clenched. "Say that again." Kor laughed and pushed harder. Eli stumbled but didn't fall. Instead, he straightened, eyes burning. He didn't fight with fists. He simply said, "If being kind is weakness, then I'd rather be weak forever." The other students gasped. On a world ruled by power, those words hit harder than a punch. Kor sneered. "We'll see how long you last, Earth Boy." That night, Eli stayed late in the academy workshop. He had found an old human-made glove buried under dust in the storage room. Its circuits were dead, but he saw the potential. The glove had been part of early human tech, built for construction and defense. He opened it up, fixed the wires, and powered it with alien crystal energy. When he put it on, it glowed faint blue, pulsing with light. "Not bad," he whispered. From the doorway, Lyra's voice came softly. "You're fixing human tech?" Eli smiled without turning. "Trying to. Thought it might help me keep up with your kind." She walked closer, her steps quiet. "You're not afraid of them?" He shook his head. "I've seen worse back home. On Earth, people bully too. But my dad used to say, if you don't stand for something, you fall for everything." Lyra smiled faintly. "Your father sounds wise." He was. A soldier. He taught me to fight for others. The glove glowed brighter for a moment, reacting to his emotions. Lyra heard the low hum and felt a strange vibration in her chest, like the glove spoke to her in some forgotten language. "What does that sound?" she whispered. Eli looked surprised. "You can hear it?" "Yes," she said, touching her temple. "It's like music, but sad," he blinked. "It's just energy." "No," Lyra said slowly. "It's alive." The next day, Eli walked through the halls with her. Every head turned. The bullies glared but didn't move. Something about Eli's calm made them uneasy. In training class, they were paired for a combat exercise. Kor's grin returned. "Let's see what the human can do." Eli stepped forward, flexing his gloved hand. The crystal light shimmered. When Kor attacked, Eli dodged, using speed instead of strength. He used the glove to block a strike, and the impact sent a spark across the floor. The crowd gasped. The human had held his ground. Kor roared, swinging again. Eli jumped back, letting the glove absorb the hit. It glowed brighter. "Guess it works," he muttered. Then, without warning, Lyra shouted, "Eli, behind you!" He turned just in time. The second bully lunged. Eli ducked, raised his arm, and the glove released a flash of light that knocked the alien backward. The crowd froze. The instructor stopped the fight immediately. "Enough!" Kor and his friends backed off, humiliated. Eli helped Lyra up from her seat, and the entire class stared in silence. That evening, Lyra and Eli sat again under the glass dome. The stars glittered and the hum of the panels filled the air. "Why do you keep helping me?" she asked softly. Eli looked at her blind eyes, glowing faintly under the starlight. "Because I see something in you that no one else does." She smiled sadly. "And what is that?" "Strength," he said. "You get pushed every day, but you still stand. You don't fight back, yet you never give up. That's real power." She turned her face toward him, eyes reflecting dim starlight. "Eli, when you caught me, I felt something strange. Like the world stopped for a second. The light inside me moved, and he frowned. What do you mean? She hesitated. I think my blindness isn't what it seems. I see things sometimes. Not with my eyes, but in my mind. Patterns, voices, stars, calling to me. Eli looked up at the night sky, his voice quiet. Maybe you're not blind at all, Lyra. Maybe you're just seeing something we can't. For a long moment, they sat in silence, surrounded by the endless hum of the alien city. Far above them, the stars flickered again, once, twice, then glowed in strange rhythm. Eli didn't notice, but Lyra did. Her lips parted in awe.
They're calling my name, she whispered.
Turned sharply. Who? The stars, she breathed. They're waking up. And deep within the crystal glove on Eli's hand, a faint signal pulsed, as if answering her call. The following days passed in strange silence. The bullies no longer touched Lyra. They avoided her and the human boy who stood beside her. It wasn't fear, it was confusion. Something about them had changed. Eli noticed it too. Every time Lyra stood under the lights, her eyes shimmered faintly, like something beneath her skin was alive. She didn't notice it, but he did. That evening, they met again in the Academy's sky garden. The stars shone through the transparent dome above them. Eli sat beside Lyra on the smooth metal bench. You ever wonder, he said, why your eyes glow sometimes? She turned her head toward him, her blind eyes reflecting soft light. They do? Yeah, when you talk about stars or light. They shine, like they're reacting. Lyra tilted her face up. Maybe they're trying to remember something I forgot. He smiled softly. You say things that sound like poetry. She laughed quietly. My mother used to say, the blind see things that sight steals away. I never understood that until now. The air shimmered. For a second, Eli thought he heard a low hum, like electricity whispering in his ear. Then Lyra gasped. Eli, did you hear that? Hear what? A voice, it said. Coordinates confirmed. Star path opening. Eli's eyes widened. Coordinates? From where? Lyra held her head, her face pale. I don't know. It's inside my mind. Like someone is speaking from the stars. He looked at her closely. Lyra, that's not normal. She took a deep breath. It's not the first time. I've heard it before when I was little. My parents said it was imagination. But the older I got, the clearer it became. Eli frowned. Maybe it's connected to what happened to your eyes. She nodded slowly. I was 5 when the explosion happened. They said it was a lab accident, but I don't remember it. Only light. Endless light, Eli thought for a moment. If your eyes were damaged by energy, maybe something else changed too. Maybe they kept something inside you. Lyra turned toward him. Like what? Before he could answer, the lights in the garden flickered. Then a loud metallic sound echoed through the hall. A group of students screamed as the power panel sparked. Eli stood up. What's happening? The emergency alarms began to ring. A robotic voice echoed. Energy surge detected. Origin Sector 7. Lyra's hands trembled. That's near the lab ruins, where I was found. Without thinking, Eli grabbed her hand. Let's go. They ran through the glowing halls. The sirens painted red light across the walls. Lyra could barely keep up, but Eli didn't let go. His glove flickered blue, reacting to her presence. When they reached the old lab doors, the power inside them pulsed like a heartbeat. The metal opened by itself as if welcoming her. Eli whispered, This place is alive. Inside, the room was full of floating lights and broken alien machines. At the center stood a glass chamber cracked open from the inside. Lyra's breath caught. I remember this place. Eli stepped closer. What do you remember? She touched the edge of the broken glass. I was inside here. When the explosion happened, my father was there. He said something before the light came. What did he say? Lyra closed her eyes. The map must survive. Eli's heart pounded. Map? What map? She opened her eyes, and they glowed brighter than ever. Silver and blue mixed together. Suddenly, a holographic pattern burst into the air between them. Lines of stars, spinning symbols, coordinates, all floating above her head. Eli stared, speechless. Lyra, it's a star map. She fell to her knees, covering her ears as voices whispered faster inside her head. They're speaking again. I can't understand them. Eli knelt beside her, holding her shoulders. Breathe, Lyra. Focus on my voice. I see. Shapes, planets, something hidden beyond the nebula. Eli looked closer at the map. In the middle of the glowing pattern, he saw something strange, an earth symbol. Old but clear, a circle with 3 arrows. The logo of the Human Alliance, lost for over a century. He whispered, "This isn't just a map." "It's human," Lyra gasped, trembling. "I'm part of it, aren't I?" Before Eli could answer, a loud crash shook the lab. The door burst open and Kor and his bullies stormed in. "There you are," Kor snarled. "What are you hiding, human?" Eli stood in front of Lyra protectively. "Get out, Kor," Kor smirked. "The teachers think you're dangerous, blind girl. They told us to bring you in." Lyra's body trembled, the map still glowing faintly around her. "I didn't do anything." Kor grabbed her arm. "Liar!" Eli's hand clenched, the glove flaring bright blue. "Let her go," Kor laughed. "Or what? You'll hit me." Eli didn't answer. He raised his hand. The glove pulsed, releasing a shockwave of energy that threw Kor and his friends across the room. Sparks flew, lights shattered. Lyra screamed, and a burst of light erupted from her eyes. Pure, blinding silver. Everyone was thrown to the floor. When the light faded, the bullies were unconscious and the lab was silent again. Eli turned to Lyra. She was shaking, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I didn't mean to," she whispered. "It just happened." He touched her shoulder gently. "It's okay. You saved us." She looked up at him, her eyes dim but still glowing faintly. "Eli, what am I?" He didn't have the answer. But he knew one thing. This wasn't just about a blind girl anymore. It was about a secret buried deep within her blood, and maybe within the stars themselves. Far above the academy, unseen by anyone, a distant satellite flickered to life, its signal matching the same rhythm as Lyra's heartbeat. A mechanical voice whispered across space, "Signal reacquired. The star map has awakened." And somewhere in the cold darkness something vast began to move. Night had fallen again over the shining city of Vereen. The academy slept under the silver glow of alien moons, but deep below its towers, 2 figures moved through the shadows. Eli and Lyra. After what happened in the lab, the teachers had locked the area down. The bullies were taken to the infirmary, but Lyra knew they would come for her next. She wasn't just a blind girl anymore, she was a mystery. A danger. They moved through the lower tunnels where the light panels flickered weakly. Lyra's hand brushed against the wall to stay balanced while Eli guided her with quiet steps. His glowing glove lit their way, faint blue against the dark metal. "Are you sure this is safe?" he whispered. Lyra nodded. "No, but it's the only place they won't look for us." They entered a forgotten maintenance room full of old human machines covered in dust. Lyra sat down slowly. Her face was pale, her eyes faintly glowing even in darkness. "I can still hear them," she said softly. Eli frowned. "The voices?" "Yes, they're quieter now, like whispers through water. But they keep saying the same thing, follow the path. Unlock the bridge." Eli crouched beside her, looking at the glove. It pulsed every time she spoke those words. "Maybe it's reacting to you. Maybe the glove and your eyes are connected." She tilted her head. "Connected how?" He hesitated. "Back on Earth, there were human projects. Secret ones. They worked on fusing tech with DNA, living maps, biological keys. Maybe your father," she turned sharply. "Don't talk about him," Eli stopped. "Lyra, what happened to him?" Her voice cracked. "He disappeared after the explosion. They told me he died, but now, I think he's out there somewhere. Maybe this map is his work." Eli thought for a moment. "Then we need to find out where it leads." She closed her eyes. "I can try." Lyra placed her hands on the floor and her eyes glowed again, this time steady and strong. The same holographic star map appeared, spinning gently in the air. Dozens of stars, swirling lines, and coded coordinates filled the room. Eli's breath caught. "It's beautiful." But Lyra looked pained. "It's not just stars. These are memories, data, locations hidden inside my mind." He studied the floating pattern carefully. At the very center of the map there was a faint blinking light, red, beating like a heart. "There," Eli pointed. "That must be where it leads." Lyra turned toward him. "That's outside this system. No ship could reach it without crossing the nebula wall." "Then we'll find a way," he said firmly. "If this map is waking up now, it means someone or something wants us to reach that point." Before they could say more, the floor vibrated beneath them. The hum of engines echoed from above. Lyra froze. "They're searching for us." Eli grabbed her hand. Come on. They ran through narrow tunnels as red lights flashed overhead. Security drones buzzed down from the ceiling, scanning with sharp beams of light. Eli used his glove to short out one of the drones. It sparked and crashed. Go, go! Lyra followed the sound of his voice. She was fast now, confident. The tunnels opened into a wide chamber, an ancient maintenance dock. In the center stood a rusted transport pod, half buried in dust. The word Unity was still printed across its side in faded human letters. Lyra reached out to touch it. Unity. That word keeps appearing. I saw it in the lab too. Eli nodded. It was a symbol for an old Earth project, something about bringing humans and aliens together. Together? She whispered. But they hate each other now. Maybe that's why it failed. As they approached the pod, Lyra's eyes flickered brighter. The ship's console lit up on its own, systems reactivating for the first time in decades. Access granted, a mechanical voice said. DNA match detected, Lyra. Designation, hybrid key. Lyra stumbled back, shocked. Hybrid key? Eli's heart raced. You're part human, Lyra. She shook her head. No, that can't be true. But the ship continued. Half-human genetic code confirmed. Star map integration complete. Destination unlocked. The holographic map expanded, showing a massive human colony hidden beyond the nebula wall. Eli whispered, That's where your father went, isn't it? Tears glimmered in her glowing eyes. He was searching for unity, for peace between our worlds. Eli put his hand gently on her shoulder. Then we'll finish what he started. Suddenly, a loud explosion echoed through the tunnel. The door behind them burst open. Alien guards stormed in, weapons drawn. Stop right there, one shouted. Step away from the relic. Eli turned, stepping in front of Lyra. Run! She hesitated. I can't leave you. Go, follow the map! He shouted, activating his glove. The blue light grew blinding as he struck the ground. A shockwave exploded outward, knocking the guards off balance. Lyra ran into the open passage, her eyes lighting the way. She followed the holographic trail only she could see. Behind her, the tunnel trembled with blasts and shouts. When she finally stopped, she was outside, under the twin moons. She turned to look back, fear in her heart. Eli, she whispered. The ground rumbled again. Then a figure stumbled out of the smoke, Eli, coughing but alive. He smiled weakly. You didn't think I'd let you go alone, did you? Lyra laughed softly through her tears. You're impossible, he grinned. That's what my mom used to say. Above them, the holographic map shimmered again, showing the path forward through the nebula and beyond. Eli looked up at it, determination in his eyes. We'll find your father. And the truth. Lyra nodded slowly. And maybe we'll find what unity really means. But far away, deep in the alien capital, the commanders watched them through surveillance screens. One of them whispered darkly, The hybrid has awakened. If she reaches the colony, the war will end. Another answered, Then we make sure she never does. The sun rose over planet Vereen with a strange calm. From the outside, the academy looked peaceful, but inside, chaos had already begun. The security team searched every tunnel, every corridor. Their mission was simple. Find the blind alien girl and the human boy before the truth reached the stars. Far away, deep inside an abandoned transport station, Lyra and Eli hid among broken machinery. The metal walls were cold, and the faint hum of the ship echoed around them. Lyra sat quietly, her arms wrapped around her knees. Her glowing eyes were dim, tired from everything that had happened. Eli sat beside her, fixing his glove again. He looked at her gently. You haven't said a word since last night. Her voice was soft. Because I don't know what to say. I'm not who I thought I was, Eli. I'm not even fully alien. He paused. That doesn't change who you are. She shook her head. It changes everything. All my life they told me humans were the reason our world suffered. And now I find out I carry human blood. Eli smiled faintly. You also carry strength. Maybe that came from both sides. Lyra looked up at him. You don't understand. On this planet, hybrids are illegal. My existence is forbidden. Eli's face darkened. That's why they called you dangerous. She nodded slowly. My father tried to protect me. He was a human scientist working with alien researchers. They wanted peace, a bridge between our species, so they created me. Eli whispered, You're the bridge. Tears filled her eyes. When the experiment succeeded, the council saw it as betrayal. They tried to destroy the lab. That's when the explosion happened, and my sight was taken. But your eyes, yes, she said quietly. The light from the reactor fused with the map. My body absorbed it. I became the key to the coordinates my father wanted to protect. Eli sat in silence. Everything finally made sense, the voices, the glowing eyes, the holographic map. Then he said softly, Lyra, your father didn't die. The map points to him. He's out there. She turned her head toward him, hope flickering in her voice. You really think so? I know so. He made sure the map would live through you. He wanted you to find him. Before she could reply, the ship's control panel beeped weakly. Eli stood and checked the screen. There's still power in the engines. We can use this pod to travel, maybe even reach orbit. Lyra frowned. You think it can fly? With a little luck. And a lot of human stubbornness, he said, smiling. She laughed softly. You humans never give up, do you? He winked. It's kind of our thing. Eli began rerouting energy from his glowing glove into the pod system. The circuits came alive, flickering blue. The engines hummed like they were waking from a long sleep. Lyra stood beside him. You fixed it. Not yet, he said. But it's breathing again. Before they could celebrate, a loud metallic clang echoed through the corridor. The ship's sensors detected movement. Lyra froze. They found us. Eli grabbed her hand. Get inside. They ran into the cockpit as heavy footsteps echoed outside. The door shook as someone tried to break it open. Eli powered up the engines, but they sputtered weakly. Come on, he shouted. Outside, voices yelled orders. A laser blast hit the door. It glowed red, melting fast. Eli! Lyra cried. He turned to her, eyes steady. You trust me? Yes. Then hold on. The engines roared to life. The old pod trembled as light filled the cabin. Just as the door burst open, the ship launched upward, tearing through the old hangar roof. Flames and debris exploded around them. Inside, Lyra clutched her seat, her heart pounding. The stars filled her mind again, whispering, calling. Coordinates. Updated, said the ship's AI. Destination locked, human colony, Unity. Eli smiled. We're going home. Lyra turned toward him. Home? He looked at her. For both of us. The pod broke through the clouds, leaving the burning city behind. Down below, the alien commanders watched the radar. She's escaping, one said. The leader replied coldly. Let her run. She won't survive the nebula wall. As the stars stretched before them, the pod entered the dark side of the sky. Energy waves shimmered outside the window like rivers of light. Lyra placed her hand on the glass. It's beautiful, she whispered. Eli smiled. Now you can see it. I can feel it, she corrected. That's enough. But something else appeared in her vision, shadows, strange ships hiding beyond the nebula. Her body tensed. Eli, something's out there. He leaned forward. What do you see? Her voice trembled. Not ships, machines. They're guarding the entrance to Unity. The ship's alarm blared. Unknown crafts detected. Weapons active. Eli's eyes widened. Hold on. The pod shook violently as beams of light shot past them. He tried to steer, but the controls sparked. Lyra closed her eyes, clutching the seat. They don't want us to reach the colony. Eli gritted his teeth. We're not stopping now. He slammed his glowing glove onto the console. The energy surged through the ship, boosting power. They shot forward, spinning through the laser fire. Lyra's eyes blazed with silver light. The map appeared again, this time bigger, clearer. It wrapped around the ship like a shield. Eli stared in awe. You're controlling it. Her voice was calm now, almost otherworldly. The map is part of me. It listens when I'm not afraid. The glowing shield deflected the next attack. The enemy ships broke formation, disoriented. Eli, she whispered. My father said the map must survive. Maybe that's why I was born, to carry it through the fire. He looked at her, proud and amazed. Then let's carry it together. The ship soared through the nebula's blinding light. For a moment, everything went white. Then silence. When the brightness faded, stars appeared again, different ones shining with golden color. Eli exhaled in relief. We made it. But Lyra's expression changed. She pointed ahead, her voice trembling. No, Eli. Look. Floating in the distance was a massive space station, half human, half alien design, burning and broken. The AI spoke quietly. Destination reached. Unity colony. Status destroyed. Lyra's voice cracked. No, this can't be. Tears filled her glowing eyes as she whispered, Father, Are you still here? And in the static of the ship's radio, a faint human voice replied, Lyra, you finally found me. The ship drifted through silence. Around them floated the remains of the Unity colony, once a shining hope between humans and aliens. Now nothing but wreckage and drifting lights. Lyra stared out the cracked glass, her hands trembling. It's all gone, she whispered. My father's dream. Destroyed. Eli placed a hand on her shoulder. Maybe not. We're still here. That means something survived. The ship's AI beeped faintly. Life signs detected. Signal origin, lower deck of main structure. Lyra's heart skipped a beat. It could be him, Eli nodded. Then we find him. The pod attached itself to the ruined station's airlock. The doors opened with a hiss, revealing a corridor full of floating dust and dim lights. The air smelled of metal and ash. Eli led the way, his glowing glove lighting the path. Lyra followed close behind, her eyes faintly shimmering. Every few steps she could hear faint whispers, memories of the station itself. Eli, she said quietly. The walls, they remember. I can feel the people who were here. Fear and fire. He looked back. Stay close. Whatever happened here, we'll find the truth. They reached the command deck. Broken screens flickered with static. On the largest screen, faint human symbols blinked. Project Unity, access locked. Lyra touched the console. It's asking for me. The machine responded to her touch, recognizing her DNA. The room filled with soft light. A holographic image appeared. An older human man, tired but kind-eyed. Father, she breathed. The hologram spoke. If you are hearing this, my daughter, it means the map found its way home. I failed to stop the war. The aliens feared what we created, a child who carried both their blood and ours. You were the key, Lyra, the proof that peace was possible. Her voice shook. Father, you're alive? The hologram continued, fading slightly. I hid myself within the station's systems. My body may be gone, but my mind lives on in the code. You must finish what I started. The map will guide you to the core of Unity. There you can awaken the bridge, a message strong enough to reach both species. Eli looked at her. Lyra, he turned himself into Data. He's been waiting for you. She covered her mouth, tears in her glowing eyes. All this time, he was right here. Suddenly, the floor shook. Red lights flared. The AI spoke. Intruders detected. Eli turned sharply. Who? From the broken doorway, armored alien soldiers entered, their weapons glowing. Behind them stood Kor, the same bully who once pushed Lyra down the stairs. His armor now carried the insignia of the alien guard. End of the road, hybrid, Kor growled. The council ordered your capture. Eli stepped in front of Lyra. You're not touching her, Kor smirked. Still playing hero, human? You should have stayed in your place. Eli's glove flared with light. My place is wherever she's safe. Without warning, Kor raised his blaster. The shot exploded across the deck. Eli dodged, firing back using the glove's energy pulse. The beams clashed, lighting the room in flashes of blue and red. Eli, stop, Lyra shouted. If we fight, we'll destroy the core. But Kor didn't stop. Another shot grazed Eli's shoulder. He grunted but stayed standing. Lyra felt fear burn away into strength. The voices in her head grew louder, not angry but guiding. Protect the bridge. Protect the light, her eyes blazed silver. The map appeared again, wrapping around her body like wings of light. Eli stared in awe. Lyra, what are you doing? She stepped forward. Ending this. Kor froze as the light grew brighter. No, stay back. The holographic map surged outward, spreading across the floor, the walls, the ceiling, turning everything into a field of stars. The alien soldiers dropped their weapons, blinded. Lyra's voice echoed through the chamber, calm and powerful. I am not your enemy. I am both of you. I am what you were too afraid to become. Eli reached for her hand. Lyra, you'll burn yourself out. She smiled faintly. Not if you hold on. He grabbed her hand and the blue light from his glove merged with her silver glow. The combined energy spread like a wave. The hologram of her father reappeared, smiling. That's it, my daughter. Together, human and alien united again. But the station began to shake violently. Warning alarms echoed. Eli shouted over the noise. The reactor's going critical. Her father's voice said softly, to save them, the bridge must be completed. But the energy will need a living link. You, Lyra. Her eyes widened. No, I can't. Eli turned to her, voice steady. You can? I'll help you. Tears rolled down her face. You'll die if you stay. He smiled through the chaos. Maybe, but I won't leave you again. She shook her head. Why? He met her glowing eyes. Because once I said enough, and I meant it. They stood together in the storm of light, hands joined. Energy surged around them, rising like a sun. Kor stumbled back, shouting, "What are you doing?" "You'll destroy everything." Eli turned toward him. "No, we're fixing it." With one final pulse, the energy exploded outward, pure and blinding. The shockwave spread across the entire station, then out into space. When the light faded, the soldiers were gone. Their weapons melted into ash. The colony systems glowed softly once again, peaceful and alive. Eli lay on the floor, breathing hard. Lyra knelt beside him, weak but smiling. "It worked," she whispered. "The bridge is active." He looked up at her, his voice faint. "You did it." She shook her head gently. "We did it." The hologram of her father appeared one last time. "You gave them hope, my child. The bridge is open. The message will reach every world." The hologram faded, leaving only the soft glow of stars around them. Lyra held Eli's hand tightly. "Don't leave me," she whispered. He smiled weakly. Not this time. And for the first time, she could truly see him, not through light but through heart. Silence filled the ruins of the Unity colony. The blinding light faded, leaving a soft golden glow across the broken metal and shattered glass. For the first time in years, the station didn't feel dead. It breathed. Lyra sat on the floor, holding Eli's hand. Both were weak but alive. The air around them hummed gently like the sound of distant stars. Eli blinked slowly, his voice rough. "Did we make it?" Lyra smiled through tears. "Yes, we did. The bridge is open." Across the colony's windows, beams of light stretched into space, a living signal traveling across galaxies. It carried her father's final message. Unity is not a dream. It is a choice. The message spreads far away. On alien homeworlds and human colonies, communication screens flickered. Leaders, soldiers, and citizens all saw the same vision. The image of a blind girl and a human boy standing together, surrounded by stars. The message repeated in every language. The war is over. The bridge has been restored. For the first time in a century, humans and aliens paused, not to fight, but to listen. The world wakes back on planet Vereen. The academy buzzed with confusion and wonder. The bullies who once mocked Lyra watched the broadcast in silence. Kor, now stripped of his armor, stared at the screen with regret. "She was just a blind girl," he whispered, "and we were the ones who couldn't see." The teachers lowered their heads in shame. The same halls where Lyra had once been pushed and laughed at now echoed with her name, spoken with respect. The gift of sight inside the Unity station, Lyra stood weakly. Her body felt heavy, her eyes glowing brighter than ever. Eli helped her up. "You okay?" She smiled faintly. I can see now." He froze. "See?" She turned toward him, blinking. The world came into focus, faint colors, shapes, movement. For the first time, she truly saw his face. "You're real," she whispered, touching his cheek. "I always imagined your eyes. They're kinder than I thought." Eli laughed softly, tears in his own eyes. "And you're even braver than I imagined." Her sight was weak and blurry, but it didn't matter. She could see light, and that was enough. The last choice, the station trembled slightly. The AI spoke. "Bridge energy stable. Transmission complete. Structural collapse imminent." Eli looked around. "We have to go. The colony's falling apart." Lyra nodded, but then she heard a voice. Soft, familiar. Her father. "Lyra, my time is done, but yours is just beginning. Guide them. Teach them what it means to see." Tears rolled down her face. "I will, Father." "I promise." The ceiling cracked above them. Eli grabbed her hand. "Come on." They ran toward the escape pod, the floors shaking under their feet. Behind them, the Unity core glowed one last time, sending a pulse of golden light across the galaxy. The pod launched into open space, just as the station finally collapsed in a burst of radiant light. The explosion looked less like destruction, and more like sunrise. The new dawn days later, the pod landed safely back on Vereen. News spread faster than light. The girl who carried the map had united two worlds. When Lyra and Eli stepped out, people from both races stood waiting. No one mocked her anymore. They bowed their heads instead. An alien elder spoke first. We feared you, child. But you gave us hope. Lyra's voice was calm, steady. Hope doesn't come from power or fear. It comes from kindness, from standing up when everyone else looks away. She looked at Eli, smiling. It comes from people who say, "Enough," Eli grinned. "Guess I'm famous now," she laughed, brushing her hair back. "You're more than that. You're my friend, my bridge," he looked at her softly. "And you're my light, Lyra." Together they watched as human ships and alien fleets arrived in peace formation. No weapons, no threats. The stars above glowed brighter as if celebrating them. Epilogue: the girl who could finally see years later. Children on both planets would learn the story of the blind alien girl and the human boy who changed the galaxy. They would tell how she once fell down the stairs every day, until one boy said a single word that began a new age. Enough. And they would remember her name, Lyra, the girl who couldn't see the stars. Until she became one. Final message. Sometimes you don't need eyes to see truth, only courage to stand up for what's right. One act of kindness can change not just a life, but an entire world. The end.